Welcome to In It to Win It. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. We are here for Monday market moves, what happened last week in the markets, and what I expect for next week. Probably tell by the background here, I am traveling, but I wanted to get you guys out your Monday market moves. So this may be a little bit abbreviated, but here we go. All right, lots of great news this week. The Fed held rates where they are. They are basically Vegas odds have them cutting in September or possibly even before. Unemployment rate is rising, so a lot of stocks have gotten hit. And also, remember, their unemployment, I think it was 4.3% is what they're reporting. But remember, they're not counting discouraged workers. So we learned from John Williams of Shadow Stats and also Rob Keynes that, you know, when you start counting discouraged worker, it's like 1 out of 3 people. So those are the real numbers. The yen carry trade also blew up. Basically, the currency arbitrage that's been happening between the Japanese yen and the U.S. dollar, and so that created a lot of buying opportunities. If you want an in-depth one of that, go to John Polomy's latest episode, and he'll tell you it all there. All righty, let's go to the charts. Excuse me. Starting out as always with the S&P 500. I'm going to hide the video panel here and try to keep some bandwidth. We're on the best Wi-Fi that the Hyatt has to offer. All righty. Starting out as always with the S&P 500, we've got it all the way down and pretty impressive. It's down 2% for the week. Now just hit right on this 100 moving average. The last time we did that was way back here in April. So this could serve as a support. It looks like we're going to get a little bounce here, although the technicals RSI 38 could still go down more. My bias is to the upside, probably hitting that 50 moving average and then working its way back down. So I think this next run down, we're going to hit the 200 moving average. This correction that we have is completely normal in a little correction here. This is only like, what is that, 6%. So not much at all. Okay. And the dollar is down 1%, so fell out of bed right there. Pretty impressive. And when we look at the Japanese yen, I didn't pull it up, but it's basically gone from 160, and now it's all the way down, just tanking to around 140. Now, here's what's really interesting. I think in the dollar, we've got some support kind of right around like 103, 102. That's going to be the next level down. Now, here's what's really exciting. Okay, now here's the 30-year Treasury divided by the 2 years. So this is one of the yields. We finally, 30-year Treasuries are paying more in yield than 2-year Treasuries. So we're entering into normal times. In other words, about to go into a recession. If we get a steep incline of this and this, the 10 minus the 2-year yield is getting very close. We're getting very close here to the zero line. And when we get above the zero line and have a sharp pull back up in reversion of yields, that's when the recession starts. We exit upside down clown world and go into normal times. And let's see, the 1 month Treasury still paying north of 5%, 5.36%. Looking like I'm not going to say a market crash, but looking like we're going to be getting a correction here. And if you want to check out Lobo's free market crash survival kit, I think there is no better time than now. He talks about exactly what he's going to do, what he's going to hold through it, and what he's going to buy afterwards. There will be a link down below. Gold, exciting. Last week it closed at 23.81. This week it closed at 24.69, and it reached a new all-time high, $2,522. So very cool on gold. I still think this support is at 2,300, and I think that is more likely than not that we'll retrace back to that. But great to see gold putting in a new all-time high. Technicals here are a little stretched, so I don't know that I would be betting on gold like that, although some guys are really good at betting breakouts. All right, and gold divided by the S&P 500 last week, this number right here was 0.436. This week is 0.462. This is an outperformance by gold versus the S&P 500 of 6%. GDX divided by gold is underperforming, actually, so the miners did worse than the metal itself by about 4%. And CEF, the easy, like air quotes, physical way to play gold and silver in the stock market is this one right here. It is up 2% for the week. And yeah, this is the way you can bet on gold and silver. in your brokerage account. If you want to get your own precious metals like real gold and silver, contact Andy Scheckman at Miles Franklin Precious Metals. You can email him info@milesfranklin.com. Tell him In It to Win It sent you. Andy has the cheapest deals on the planet for precious metals that I am personally aware of. GDX. Okay, this is where it's starting to get exciting. This one's exactly flat, which is kind of strange. Last week it was $36.48, and so is it this week, although pretty volatile up and down. Still see support around 32, like kind of coming down. See this back support right back there? Kind of right around 32 would be a nice little stink bid. I don't know if it'll get there or not. Resistance is still 40 up top. GDXJ is down 1.6%. Still see 42 as a support, just kind of right around this 100 moving average. Although we could retrace back down here. Remember, even though gold is going up, some of these miners are going down because of all the turmoil in the markets right now. And people are selling anything with a bid, and gold stocks always have a bid. Franco-Nevada up 0.4% for the week, closed the week at 125. Still see support around, I wrote 115, but now that I'm looking at this, I think it's a little north right here of this 200 moving average, but technicals are still, RSI's at 50. This is, in my opinion, nowhere in a buy zone yet. I want to see it come back down here, maybe do a double bottom on the 200 moving average there, and then I would get excited. Wheaton Precious Metals, this one has just been an absolute boss for the last 6 months. It just had an incredible move. It is down 1% for the week. Remember, this dividend is growing by 10% every single year. Love this stock. Still really like support down here around 52. Resistance is going to be up top here around, immediately right around 60, but then this recent high up here around 63. Gold Royalty Corporation down 3.6% for the week. Okay, so Adriatic Metals, I read the update on the plane. Peter Benke was nice enough to forward those to me, and what he had isn't looking fantastic. Basically, what's happened is the government has said that for whatever reason, they've changed their mind, the Bosnian government, and they're like, you can't extend your tailings pile by bulldozing those trees anymore. So they got to come up with some kind of solution. They have months to decide. They're trying to permit out other possible tailings extensions. We'll see if they get it or not. That's not fantastic for Gold Royalty Corporation because we have a stream on the copper that comes out of there. So if that shuts down, then so does our copper stream. But I do like the back support right back here. I did have a limit order back here for 125, and I actually pulled that because I needed the cash to be able to buy something that you will see here shortly. Metallo Royalty down 6.5% for the week. Can't help but notice a nice little double bottom here, although it does look like it's probably going lower. But like that double bottom support, maybe an entry position now, and then you see if we line back up with this back here, that's around a 235, 240. When you get these washout liquidation crisis, which is what's happening, sometimes you get some pretty good deals. EMX Royalty. Ow, we were talking about 175 for a while, finally hit. So if you have that 175 limit order in there, just hitting right on the 200 moving average, that could be your first entry. There's a little gap right here that I think usually gaps get filled. And if that's the case, then you're going to want it around like $1.60 or so. Origin Royalties is up 7.6%. Pretty amazing. Looking fantastic. Just seems to be obeying this trend line up. I hope it does so forever, although we know it won't. And Barrick Gold is up 0.7% for the week. I still really like limit orders around this 200 moving average. That'll get the technicals down a little bit. RSI is still at 50. This needs to get sold off a little more. Ideally, I still really like we're talking about here, a limit order around 1625. And Newmont is up 3.8% for the week. And let's see. So basically, they came out with their quarterly report. I can't remember if I talked about this last week or not. But they basically had a high all-in sustaining cost. So gold rose 12% in price, and their costs rose 8%. So they gained some ground, but not nearly as much as you would think with as much of a price run as we've had in gold. You know, this is usually leveraged more to that, and unfortunately, it didn't quite capture those earnings like we would have hoped. And Agnico Eagle is up 2.3% for the week. Pretty exciting. Now we do still have some support. I still like it right back right around here. Technicals are really high. I'd like to see this thing get sold off anywhere around 64, 65 bucks. If gold continues to go up, that will not happen. And B2 gold is down 2% for the week. 285 was resistance. Now it's support. And I'm sorry, it was resistance, now support. What am I talking about? Anyways, it was support and it still is. That hits right on the 50% retracement right there. If you want to get into this, I don't think now is a bad time. Maybe, and then coming in here for a double bottom, like we've been talking about $2.50 for a long time, we may actually get there. But RSI is 47, still middle of the road. I'd like to see some kind of like double bottom action here. Maybe watch on the 30-minute and see if you can catch like a quick little double bottom like that to find an entry there. And G Mining Ventures up 10.5% for the week, just looking fantastic. I don't really see any entries on this right now, but got a moment there just before the Rule Symposium where it got down a little bit. But yeah, love this company a lot. And Gustavo wants to know about Seabridge Gold. Right here, the way I look at this, I mean, if we took the kindergarten method of just buying this thing when it was $10.50 and then selling it when it got north of 14, you did pretty well over the last couple of years. This is a very leveraged bet to gold itself. So if you can watch the gold price and you don't even need an option on this one, you can essentially trade it and you can make returns on it almost like an option. All right, and silver is up 1.3% for the week. So I drew this 26 line in here, and I even made it a little like, what's the word, thicker. And you can do that by clicking on it and going right up here. See how it says 4X, 1X. I put this as a thick line because 26 is a really critical level for support in silver. We do not want to see it go below 26, or now that's going to be the new resistance and we have to break through it again. So this is a very strong soap bubble. We do not want to break it. Basically, as long as we stay above 26, we are in the green light. So love this software trading view. I know you guys are liking it too because you're using the link. So thank you. I appreciate that. I love getting your guys' tweets and emails on the charts. You can try it out free for 30 days with the link in the notes below. There's no obligation. If you don't like it, well, it was my favorite price, free. All righty. So silver, stay above 26, and gold divided by silver has gotten even cheaper in relation to that, silver to gold. So last week, the ratio was 85 to 1. We're up 2.4% this week. We're up to, we'll round up to 87 to 1. And SILJ is down 5%. Look at that bar on Friday. That's incredible. Down 5% for the week. Still see support right here at $11. That would come in for a nice double bottom. We'd like to see it hit like 11 and then shoot back up. That would be fantastic. Pan American Silver is down 2% for the week. Don't really see any setups here. RSI is 43. Want to see it come back down. Got support around like 1950. And SILV, Silvercrest Metals, sold a tiny bit more up here. I think we've still got about 60% of the bet on. Silver's had a heck of a run. And looking this one over, this was like a third of my silver portfolio just on this one miner and the one mine in Mexico. And I'm like, I really need to take some risk off the table here. So I took some risk off the table with SILV. And Endeavor Silver, man, this had a crash. That was really impressive. We were talking for weeks about the level at like $3.50. Blew through that. Next level of support, probably going to be around $3. Maybe actually there's a little bit more around like 280, 290, somewhere right in there, I think would be nice. And copper, paging Dr. Copper, down 0.5% for the week. Love having Peter Granish on the show. He gave some comments also on Arizona Metals and other companies like Metalla Royalties. You guys, I'll put a little link up at the top here. You can check that interview out here if you missed it. He believes that the support for copper, basically the bottom, is going to be around $3.80 to $3.85. And that makes sense too. I mean, if we plot this general trend line up, that's about where it would be there. It's hitting right around the 200 moving average. Look at how low the RSI is here. When it did that, it was 29.30, right around there. Okay, so very compelling for copper right now. Okay, now check this out. We go to COPX down 3.3%. Look, hitting right on this 200 moving average. Got a limit order in here for $40.60. That missed by literal pennies and it didn't fill. I almost pulled the trigger and I'm like, nah, I think it'll hit, but maybe I'll be eating my words. We'll see. COPJ down 4.3% for the week and got a couple of limit orders in on here. Paid a little too much, got it at like $21.50, and it got down as low as like $20.30. I think we could hit this 200-day moving average, and yeah, that would be just basically about 20 bucks. Like that a lot. So we got their basic limit orders over here, $19.50 and $21, just kind of right in that range. Arizona Metals down 3% for the week. I had a limit order in here for $1.25, which I'm going to replace on Monday when the money clears. But I took that limit order and the cash that I would have spent on Arizona Metals, knowing that it wasn't going to hit on Friday, or being fairly certain. And luckily it didn't. And so I put that into something else, which you will see here in a moment. And Munduro Capital, if you want some leverage on copper, my God, this is the way to do it. Like this company a lot, found out about it from the Rural Boot Camp, just having a heck of a run since the boot camp. Pretty amazing, 50%. Haven't cashed out anything yet. Uranium, flat for the week, $82.35. Yeah, I like this a lot. Look at this. I mean, if that doesn't look like a floor, technically, then I don't know what is. SRUUF. So we'll see a bunch of orange arrows here. There's actually more orange arrows there than, and what I did was this purchase on Friday, I was able to transfer cash from one account to another and then another. And so I actually had 3 purchases in there. I doubled my position in SRUUF, and that's where all those limit orders ended up going. And whatever extra cash I could transfer, I did, because the discount was at one point, it was north of 18%. I mean, it was a hot moment in time. The share price of this got down into the 1680s, and I was able to snag it. That was awesome. David says uranium is basically on sale. I agree, sir. We just had Justin Hune on the show, and I am as bullish as ever. I'm sure you guys saw that episode, but if you didn't, and you're just starting out in uranium, you need to watch it and check out his newsletter. He's got a 500% portfolio returns in 5 years. Link is down below. All right, so this one is down 4.5% for the week, but uranium itself is exactly flat. This is what I call starting to be a really good deal. Closed the week at a 15% discount. They got $5.4 billion worth of uranium sitting in a warehouse unavailable to the utilities. Looks like this bear flag played out to our delight. And yeah, this stuff just got extremely cheap. We'll see if we get another double bottom down here, but usually when you get discounts like this, it reverts to the upside. Cameco down 15.8% for the week. They had a bad earnings call. Basically, they're not going to produce as much as they thought they would. Neither is Kazatomprom, which is great for the uranium sector if you're betting on, you know, the price of the stuff going up. I'd rather not see a worldwide energy shortage, but if one is going to happen, we have to take the hand we're dealt and bet it. So the gap was filled. Love seeing the gap filled back there, bouncing right on the 400 moving average. RSI is at 24. It's very rare that you see RSIs that low, but in a liquidity crisis, everything gets sold. Kazatomprom down 1% for the week. Just kind of staying right in this box. If you're going to get an entry into this, this looks like a pretty decent time. RSI is 36. Oh, and Jim, thank you. Another way, apparently, to buy Kazatomprom that I was unaware of is the ticker NATKY. And he said you can get that one on Fidelity. So there you go. Maybe you don't need Interactive Brokers to get it. But yeah, they're missing production as well. We'll see how things iron out with this one. But we'll just continue that box out there and see how this plays out. URA is down 11% for the week. I thought $30 was a deal. Apparently, $24.50 is. Some support where we are now. I mean, maybe down just a hair around like 23.50 or so, might be a tiny bit more. This does look like a falling knife, but man, RSI of 29, that is pretty low. I see kind of major support around 23.70 to $24. URNM down 11% for the week. Support was 44.45. That no longer exists. And then caught another deal right here. Got it for $40.50. I didn't think that would ever happen, but it did. And now I see the next limit order kind of around like 38.25. URNJ down 8% for the week. Got it right here at 21.50, and then got again on Friday when the deals were screaming, got it at $8.72. I thought $25 was a great deal, but it got even cheaper. RSI at 28 to close the week. I think that this one's actually down less than URNM because Cameco got hammered so much. Remember, URNM has Cameco, Kazatomprom, and Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. So Cameco and Sprott Physical Uranium Trust make up about 30% of URNM, and both of those got wrecked this week, meaning that URNM uncharacteristically lost more than URNJ. Yeah. All right. And BH wants to know, he said, hey, could you plot URNM and URNJ versus uranium? All right. So yes, this is URNM divided by uranium, the spot price of uranium, and kind of a compelling entry point here. I mean, look at that. It's just right around 0.5. It was as high as 0.64 not that long ago, just in May. So really oversold here on the equities. Love to see that. I heard a theory from Rick, and he wasn't sure if it was true or not, but he heard that a couple big players that were in the uranium space recently sold off, probably because of the recent liquidity crisis, and that's what's driving this down. So that is why we were able to get a deal. So thank you to those people. URNJ divided by uranium itself. Look at how oversold this is, 0.22 to 1. So pretty incredible, just getting sold off. Would have liked to see it stop here for a bounce. That would be a little bit, but yeah, man, look at that. And RSI at 27. I don't know that you can bet these charts too much, but it just gives you an idea of how much more these are underperforming the metal itself. URNJ divided by URNM. So the juniors are underperforming by a long shot URNM. And that's kind of, so I guess this little green arrow doesn't mean squat anymore. We can delete that. Same thing for URNJ divided by Cameco, Kazatomprom, and the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. Just blew through that line. That was a pretty nice trend line until that happened. And then it just bit the dust. UROY, Uranium Royalty Corporation, is down 7.3% for the week. Picked up a tiny bit more on Monday. And what did we get it at? 225 and then 221. And it closed the week at 214. So got an even better deal. Rick has ranked this one as a 4, which is undervalued. If you want to get your companies ranked by Rick Rule, then join us in the classroom. When we live stream, we have hundreds of people there, all asking questions, and it's my favorite price, free. If you want a little more personalized experience, you can join the Rule Classroom Plus, which I am going to be a part of, and you'll get it's basically a small group of us dedicated investors. I'm taking your questions and I'm asking the master. We have an hour. You can ask him live, whatever you want. If you can't make the live event, it's taped. And you'll also get pros like money manager Adrian Day, economic geologist Brent Cook, and Joe Mazumdar of Exploration Insights. They're geologists that are walking these mines and these projects that we are betting on. And you can ask these guys any question you want. They've probably either seen the mine, bet on the company, or not. And that is $30 a month for the Rule Classroom Plus, and that is my second favorite price, which is almost free. I hope to see you there. Link is in the pinned comment below. And some people watch the Qs. We watch the Us. Energy Fuels is down 13.4% for the week. We said last week support was going to be right around here, like, 25 or so. That blew through, and support is kind of right around where we are now, like $4.90. We got a lot of back support right there. RSI is 31, very sold off. Would like to see a double bottom here, though, in these. These are very leveraged to uranium, even though everything is so sold off like this. In the smaller ones like this, I kind of like to see a double bottom to confirm it. Otherwise, you may just be catching a falling knife. Uranium Energy Corporation down 18.5% for the week. I love this company a lot. I'm pretty biased because every share I own has been for free. I got past the point of concern up here. And, if it gets cheap enough, I'll buy more. Crude oil is down 4.7% for the week. Closed the week at 73.52. Kind of a double bottom right here. So that's kind of compelling. If we are going into a liquidity crisis, forecasting a recession, I could certainly see oil getting sold off. And I'd like to see it get sold off more because I want more Exxon. And gold divided by oil. Gold has underperformed. Overperformed. It is now costs $33. 33.6 to 1. Last week it was 30.8 to 1. So gold is outperforming crude oil here. XLE is down 4% for the week. So remember these little lines and retracements we drew as far as entry points. So your number 2 entry point, if you didn't get it here or here, hit. And that limit order was for 88.65. Maybe you got it even cheaper and you got it down at 87 something. Good on you. Next one is going to be down here at 86.25. I hope we get there. RSI 38, so could still have a little room to run. And Exxon Mobil, our favorite oil company on the planet, is down 0.4% for the week. I'm really hoping this is a bear flag paying out because I'd like these little arrows down here to hit. I don't know if it'll happen or not. Next limit order we got is 109.50. It's got a ways to go for that to happen. Something might be wrong with the company if it actually hits that. We'll see. And Chevron is down 6% for the week. Bad earnings call, a little surprise to the downside, but this created a nice little double bottom back here. We're talking about 152 forever, and it just blew right through that. Got down to 148 if you want some Chevron. I don't think now's a bad time at all. And then maybe a stink bid limit order in down here for like 143. Blackstone Minerals, the deals are coming. When I was buying and transferring all that money for uranium, I didn't notice that because I've been on vacation until about an hour and a half before the market closed. And then afterwards, I saw all these other deals. So had I spotted Blackstone Minerals down at $14.50, I would have bought it. But I wasn't in front of my computer and saw it at the time. I was so focused on buying as much uranium at an almost 20% discount that I could possibly afford. So put this into perspective. Had 20% cash in the portfolio before this buying spree that I'm talking about. Now I have 18% cash. So even though I'm, firing a lot, 2% in an hour and a half is a lot to me. It took a lot of time to move that money around to be able to do it in the accounts I needed to. So I'm not going crazy. It's not like I've spent that 20% in one day or something. No, I've spent 2, but I think more deals could come here. So down 6% for the day. I think that, the earnings come out on Monday. I think they're going to be able to upkeep this dividend, assuming that natural gas doesn't get below $1.50 or something. That would grenade this. Freehold royalties down 7%. So we blew through the 1350 limit order. If you had it in, great. You just locked in an 8% dividend, unless these bad earnings keep coming out. But yeah, I think a great purchase is now, and then maybe a stink bid down here around 13 bucks and hope you get lucky. Woodside Energy down 1.75% for the week. Kind of a compelling like double bottom right here, right? Look, yeah, I mean, my buddy Eric, he says, just buy these little technical entries and you'll be stoked on the dividend 5 years from now. And I hope he's right because I haven't sold and I'm down. But if you want some Woodside, you can get in cheaper than I ever did. Technicals are really low. Nice little double bottom there. I would expect, and it depends on this earnings call, that I think it looks kind of like a bottom. Okay, and Petrobras down 6% for the week. $14 limit order hit down below. I mean, it looks like 1350 will probably hit on Monday. That would be nice. That'd create a nice little double bottom there. RSI is way sold off at 27. Natural gas down 2% for the week. I ran a retracement here. It blew through that. So next real level support's like 155. I mean, I don't see much. I think this gap will get filled right here. And, that would just put you just north of $1.75. And $1.55 isn't much lower than that. So we might see a little bit more weakness in natural gas. Devon Energy, man, I thought $45 was a steal. Now I got even better. $42.79. It closed the week down 7.6% for the week. Now, what's interesting here, if we go to the weekly, we've got pretty much around this 200 moving average. It blew through that. But next limit order, I think, would be like down right around here, $40.70. And Equitable, okay, it looks like it might have resolved out in the downside of this triangle pattern. Good earnings call. Dividend coming up. The dividend's not great. It's like 1.5% or 2%, something like that at this price point. Next level of support I see is going to be down here around $29. Hopefully it hits. Birchcliff. Now this one was exciting. I forgot to delete this orange arrow, but I plan on replacing that Monday as soon as the funds clear. So had a limit order in there for $4. It got to 403, so it didn't hit. I'm hoping that buying SPUT is going to be slightly better than buying Birchcliff here at $4. Time will tell. We'll see. It's as soon as that cash clears, because it took a couple business days to do it, so maybe it won't clear until Tuesday. We'll see. But anyway, Paydo down 8% for the week. Limit order hit at $9.95. Closed the week at $9.80. So at that price point, it is a 9.6% dividend. RSI is down at 32. Pretty exciting. And Matt Warder is scheduled to come back on in 1 month. We're going to get his opinion on coal. He has basically said, I can read you his text, and kind of excited here for the coal market. He says, let's see. Hopefully I'll have something to talk about in August. July has been the slowest coal news month of my career. And I said, well, that's a good sign. And then he laughed and he said, spot met prices have tanked, but there really aren't any transactions to speak of. So it's just kind of a number on the screen. And I said, kind of like the uranium market right now, no volume. And he laughed and said, markets are so sad. So thermal coal closed the week at 145, and met coal closed the week at 219. And check this out. Our favorite coal ETF down 4%. So we had that run up and then just correcting back down here. I think now is a decent time to buy. RSI is pretty sold off, as far as they still have 11.2 million under assets under management and 470,000 shares. It's trading at a slight discount right now, but I like this back support. And again, not a huge amount of volume, just, $11 million market cap, very, very small. So limit orders only. Just limit orders only. Let the price come to you. Glencore down 6.7% for the week. This gap finally got filled. So here's another example of gaps getting filled. There's another little gap right here that'll probably get filled. I'd love to see some more down pressure on this, although RSI is at 30. When you just got these ones knifing down like that, unless you really understand the fundamentals behind this company, I like to wait for a double bottom like that before I make an entry. But, this is getting pretty cheap. Dividends are going to suffer for a while until they pay off that tech asset. And AMR, look at this laser eyes. It finally had $260. Had I been able to see the future, I never would have bought any of these, and I would have just placed a limit order for that, $260.52, and just gone home. But anyways, you can get into it now. RSI is 29, down 13% for the week. And Warrior Met Coal also tanked, but look at that, just hit right on that 200 moving average. I mean, laser eyes is 60, it's at 62. That is a pretty bearish looking bar going down, though. RSI isn't quite as low as it could be. It's down at 37, but looking compelling for Warrior Met Coal. And Peabody, BTU, down 1%. Looking to catch this option again. I missed this one right here. That would have been amazing, especially if I could sell it on that day right there, Thursday. That would have been fantastic. There's a guy on Twitter that has basically been trading this every time it hits 2150 and then selling it when it goes to 24 and making a killing. So good on him. I was able to do that once. And platinum up 2.5% for the week. Still got 900, and actually now it's like 950 as support. Was 945 last week, but we've since had a move up, and the 200 moving average has ticked up. PPLT, like a limit order around 86. I picked up some right over here, $87, $88. I have a sell limit sell at 84 if it gets down below that. And Palladium closed the week at $882 an ounce, down 0.5%, and yeah, still see the support down here at 880, 860, right around there. Playing that on PALL. If you got your limit order in already, you've got a position. I say the next level is around 79 or 80. And the SPPs, it looks like a $9 stink bid is probably going to hit. RSI is getting pretty sold off. Would love to see it get down to $9. I think that would have quite a bit of support. And platinum divided by silver, still cheap, but not quite as cheap as it was. I think I need to take off a couple of these O's, because when we wrote this, it was like 31 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of platinum, and now it's up to 34. So still historically cheap, just not as cheap as it has been. Down 0.7% for the week. Oh no, I'm reading something wrong. Okay, there we go. All right, nickel futures is up 3% for the week. So it looks like we might have finally hit that little bottom, just lining up with some back support back there. Probably not a coincidence. I mean, RSI can only stay at 22 for so long before it finally reverses. And betting on that, on NIKL, the nickel miners ETF through SPUT, down 3% as well. I think now is nice. I mean, if you bought it like now, you would have it cheaper than any of my entries. But, I think we got some time. Peter Granish called this one as hated as lithium, which is pretty hated. Centaurus Metals super leverage bet on nickel itself, up 5.3% for the week. Had a limit order in here for 24 and it hit, but it hit at 23. So little volume on here. I was one of the only guys buying that day. And anyways, got it for a penny less. So that was cool. And iron ore down 2.7% for the week, closed the week at 104, but it had a hot minute down there where it got pretty low. It got down to like 97, 98, probably forecasting a recession. And BHP down 2.5% for the week. Okay, now BHP and Lundin Mining bought Philo. So Rick said this is really good, and so did Peter Granish. They're both on board with this. Fantastic. I think this kind of messed with my little option here a little bit. Maybe I should have just cashed out for 20% right there. But I think this is just a fantastic time to buy BHP. Anything below $55, I think, is a screaming deal. All righty. And oh, Nerd says, oh, I'll get to that in just a sec. Okay, Rio down 2% for the week. Oh, there went my backpack. Pipe Dream limit orders still for 62, 60, and 58.50, just going down. I don't know if we'll get there. It looks like it's trying to carve out a bottom here. RSI is pretty low, around 40. And there's where we go. Nerd Colonel says, why don't you include Vale? Well, I have owned Vale, Nerd Colonel, love the screen name. Bought them back here back in like December 2021, and then ended up selling them when Rick told me, I don't remember what I made, a few percent profit with all the dividends. But you know, that that dam failure that they had that killed all those people, they still haven't paid all that out yet. Now I'll run a short-term option on this thing like I did here, which was nice, but I am just hesitant to get in on a company that, you know, has such a liability hanging over their head. You know, I would gladly get into them after that is paid and we know what the repercussions are going to be, but it's going to be billions of dollars. That being said, if you don't care, now looks like a pretty good entry. I mean, RSI is down at, what is that, $30. Is lining up with some back support here. If you really want to play it safe, I would wait for like a double bottom before I got in. And Joe, thank you for this info. This is an ETF. So this is pretty cool. It's called PICK, P-I-C-K. And basically, this has a lot of these companies that we just listed. So it's 13%, 13.5% is BHP, 9.5% is Rio. Freeport Morackman is 6%, and Glencore is 5.3%. So what is that, like 34, 35% added up together is, you know, a third of this portfolio, or these four right here, looking like some decent support right there. Like maybe an entry now. RSI is at 34, and then maybe another entry down here around like 36.50 or so. Looking kind of compelling. So thank you, Joe. If you don't want to have to buy each one of these, you can simply buy PICK, and you're basically in you know, in this metals and mining producers fund. So pretty cool. Alrighty, and Bitcoin, you know, it's funny because when I just prepped for this a few hours ago, Bitcoin was up 1% for the week, and now it's down 11%. So that is so time critical of this thing because it's just always trading. But I did have to point this out here. There's the 200 moving average. You know, let me get this box out of the way so you guys can see it. But hitting right in the Fibonacci right here. RSI 38 getting a little sold off, kind of looking like it might go down actually, but I might wait for a little bottom right there and then to move up above the 200 moving average. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys got something out of that. Thank you guys for always being here. I'm going to be over at the Rule classroom, so make sure you tune into that, and there will be a link in the pinned comment below for the Rule classroom. Would love to see you guys there. Thanks for always being here. You guys have yourself a great rest of the day, and be sure to support the show and share this with anyone that you think needs to hear it. Probably your buddy that can't stop talking about tech stocks. You have yourself a great rest of the day, and we will talk to you next time.